Stinson, we live? Are we live?
We are live.
All
We're
right,
live. Stinson, we're
let's do it.
live. Okay.
Welcome back to Talkin' Shift. We're talking about TX2K.
Yes, sir.
TX2K. We just got back.
Wild week.
That was one of the best 2Ks. Weather-wise.
It might have been my favorite.
It was really good. Yeah, definitely better than last year, 1,000%, because all the rain and everything.
The track was awesome. The streets were awesome. A few of us went to Yellow Belly. That was nuts. We're going to talk about all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just drove through a blizzard to get here, by the way. Fred and Whitty were supposed to go to Atlanta in a few hours. That got canceled. So
It got canceled a couple times.
Yeah, it got
interesting.
canceled or rescheduled a couple times, and then it was like, oh, you're going tomorrow. It's like, that's not going to work. So
it was like 82 on Friday in Texas. It was 70 here yesterday.
It was 70 yesterday. And
Lovely
then
day.
At 6 p.m.
Beautiful day, driving down the highway, and you see a sign, like one of the digital signs that said the blizzard starts at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. It did start.
I was
at 4
driving my ZR1 at 6 p.m. and saw that sign.
I drove the wagon yesterday,
Yeah.
just cruising around. It was gorgeous out.
And my mom was just sitting on the back porch reading her book. I mean, it looked lovely out there. This morning, I'm driving up, and there's about 9 vehicles off the road. 3 were actively trying to get out.
Oh, my gosh.
And at one point, a semi was across all 3 lanes, and everyone was going around the shoulder to get around him. So,
We have a 10 to 12-minute drive. Whitty has a 50-minute drive to get here.
yeah, it's actually only 45 minutes on a good day, and today it took me an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's driving like you probably should.
Yeah, no, I was like as much fast as I could. If I drove any faster, it started to suck
All right,
you.
let's get into it. TX2K.
Yes.
Where do you want to start? Roll racing? That's how we kick things off.
Yeah, because that's
Yep.
that's what we started with.
Do you remember when TX2K was a 2-day event?
Yeah.
I don't think I was there for those.
At the Hennessy track.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That was
before my
just a-
time.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah.
It was just a weekend deal.
And now
Yeah.
it's 7. No, 6.
6
Tuesday
days.
through Sunday.
Yeah.
We don't go Tuesday.
Move-in is on Monday, so technically 7 days for anybody that actually wants to go compete.
If you guys are curious, there's drag racing testing on or qualifying on Tuesday, but we have 18 people there this year, and it's just too much to do all of them. It's nothing super exciting happens during that day usually. But the
George broke the world record that day.
True, yeah, literally.
2
I
Vipers.
flew
bro.
in and got there at we got to the track at 4:30,
Okay.
and as we were pulling in, I heard him announce George Dodworth about to run. I'm like, no. And then they went crazy over the PA system. I was like, dang it. But he did it again, so it was fine.
Yeah, he did it again. It was fine.
No big deal. We'll be talking about that, but let's talk about roll racing. That was kind of the way to kick things off. Underground racing literally dominated the roll racing this year, and they really wanted it this year after a rough year last year. They've had a
Right.
couple rough years in the last few.
So the last year at Houston,
Mhm.
the record was set at 237. And then when they moved to Dallas, they shortened it by like 200 feet.
That's what I thought. I was trying to confirm that, but everyone said no.
No,
They
that
extended
is-
it back this year, right?
No.
Or is it still?
It's still 1550 to
Okay.
16.
Yeah, that's
and,
what they told us in the
and down
drivers.
there, it was like 1700 feet.
Okay. That's what I thought.
That's what we were told. That's why last year nobody went over 230. 229 was the fastest speed last year because they shortened the distance. But then this year, just 230s was nothing, and 240, 243,
Yeah.
246.
That's insane.
Well, and when I talked to Kevin, he was like, I think it's got 250 in it. I was like, what? Like the half-mile record is 260. What do
Yeah.
we do? And that's
They
26.
rebroke
That's
it at like 262 or something like that.
something,
recently.
261 maybe.
A lot
But
of people would be excited going 240 even and a half mile, and they're doing it in a 1,500 feet.
It's wild from a 60 start or however fast.
How
they
many
were
feet
going
is a
when they
half
started.
mile?
26. 26.
26.
Okay.
2640.
2640.
2640.
Dang.
It's
2640.
This times 2.
Okay, 213.
By the way, check out our fresh merch. Everyone's wearing
Oh, yeah.
new, fresh
Yeah, yeah.
stuff. I got the OG Turbo Drip, but we just released the new Harlequin colors.
Harlequin drip.
We were
Harlequin
trying to
drip.
decide what other colors to do, and Fred's like, this one looks really good because it's the colors of my car.
Yeah. So if you don't know what a Harlequin Golf is, Google it. I own one of those, and this is like Harlequin colors. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Proud Volkswagen Golf owner.
Got the
Yes, sir.
TX2K merch on.
Just dropped last week. There may be a few.
There
Thank
may
you.
be a few
Thank
left.
you, Whitty, for.
There may be a few of those left on the site.
Yeah,
I think the pre-order will probably be done by then.
when this is being published in a few days, I think the pre-order's closed, but we'll have some up after the pre-order ships out of leftovers. So just whatever.
I decided to bring a little sunshine to the blizzard.
I
with,
think this is our
summer
longest
of
running
Boost.
merch other than our U.S. and Mexico flag stuff. This is version 7 Summer Boost.
Is it really?
Version
And
7.
Matt has the Summer Boost
Yeah,
version 7
I appreciate
hat on.
the
This is-
matching.
That's
this is
last year's.
6.
Oh, sorry. You can get this one on a hat,
You
too.
can. Yes.
Where'd you get the pin from?
My friend Edwin got me this as a gift at
Nothing sweet.
TX2K.
Nice.
Very nice piece.
Little FC Arc 7.
Mhm.
Those pins are super cool at that booth. I
Yeah,
should've
they're
bought
very
some.
detailed.
Yeah.
I never made it over there.
I love the hoodie. The back of that's super pretty.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
It's got the twin turbo.
Don't unplug yourself.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Boom. The colors are so vibrant.
Yeah, I like that.
Shout out to the T-shirt factory in Council Bluffs. They print all our stuff. They do a great job.
Shout out to Jacob for designing it. You do a good job too.
We love you, Jacob. All right. Underground Racing dominated the roll race. They got winner, runner-up in the final for Elite 8. Pretty lame. They didn't race each other. Totally understand. They're like $1 million cars. They recommend each other. That's $2 million.
Windy as F.
But also they got winner in the unlimited class in the white Huracan. But they
Oh,
also
yeah.
had the sexiest cars in the roll race too.
Facts.
The 3
Big
STOs there.
facts.
That
Oh my
was
god.
just crazy. Those cars look so good. They just and the thing is like other shops, and I get it. They'll put a livery on it so it's recognizable and all that for a lot of GTRs and stuff like that. I get that. But when they come, their cars look like just very clean street cars
I like
that
that.
make damn near 4,000 horsepower.
Mhm.
They're so pretty when they pull
Oh,
up.
it's like 2,500.
No. I got Kevin to confirm. I was like,
Oh.
so these are these are X3s, so they're like 35 or so, and he's like, yeah, but maybe a little more. Yeah, here, yeah. So they make 35. At least the yellow and the blue one.
Yeah.
those were X3s, X3
Yeah,
pluses, whatever.
But the other one was blue, green.
Green,
Yeah.
like
So
Viper,
sad.
like Viper green. I don't know if that's the actual color, but it
There's
looked like
no
Viper
bad
green.
angle to the STOs.
No, that's one of those cars you could put
Oh
in your
my
living room
gosh.
as an art piece, and it
Oh.
would be good.
I
It'd be
have
nice.
seen terrible spec STOs. There are people that do terrible options on those.
Multicolors or weird interiors.
Yeah, a green with an orange, like the front lip is orange and stuff. Like they do some
I've
bad
seen
stuff.
that one.
But there's some, but there are some. The underground cars are always pretty as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin made sure to tell me when I went over to talk to him about the 243 or 246, one or the other. He said, "By the way, they're all street cars." And I was like, "I don't think you're going to Circle K in the,
Yeah.
in the X3."
But they
car.
did put the DCT transmission. They used to have the dog box, like pop, pop.
I can't remember who told me that, but apparently, yeah, they've apparently they put the DCT back in.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that was part of why they were faster because they didn't have much leg on the shifts, but also they upgraded the turbos to a
Yeah.
little bit bigger in their HPT turbos,
HPT turbos,
which is the guy that used to own Precision.
he used to own Precision. He sold Precision, and then had a clause where he couldn't make turbos or anything like that for a certain amount of time. That lapsed, so now he's making his own turbos and better technology than.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
think he
said
was
they,
doing
cool.
they said they
lubricants
still use
first.
Precisions, but for the big boy builds and stuff like that, they're starting to use those turbos, which obviously they're working really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
243, 246, and we will. Or do you want to get into the situation?
Yeah. So it's no secret. Well, maybe it is a secret. Roll racing's not a clean race. That's kind of why I like it. You can't go on 3. But
There's-
there were some pretty egregious slingshots in the roll race.
yeah.
We don't need to name any names, but yeah, I'd rather see at least a visually clean race to feel good about it.
And from where we're at, we have two angles. We have the scissor lift, and then we have us behind, like at the starting line.
Yeah.
And then, so we're not really up in the zone, and we didn't have enough people. If we had a full crew for each shift, we'd have like 4 people be able to film. So we'd
Mhm.
have people up in the zone to see if it's good or not. We didn't have people up there, but I saw videos afterwards of some cars making hits. One of them, as soon as they got under the tower, like as soon as they got from under the tower,
Sounded
on
like
it.
they were full throttle before the burnout box.
on it to catch up to the other car, so
Yeah.
they were in the zone, but then they have all this momentum to carry them through and makes the mile per hour.
If you
really
guys aren't
high.
familiar with the slingshot, so in a normal roll race, if you're like within a half car of each other, which is the goal, and you both hit at the same time, it's a pretty good race. But since there's no tree you're sitting at a standstill, there's no way to actually track who's where and what mile an hour, and if you're starting early or late, because you can't actually tell when a car's accelerating usually from any angle. But if a car's like 4 cars behind and they floor it early and they get up even at the start, you would visually think that's a good start, but they have like a 20 mile an hour difference in speeds when you go. So they're just And if you get a half second or a quarter second jump on a roll race, that's a pretty big lead. And it's people, you have to drive really aggressively in a roll race. When I had my R8 there, someone told me that right before qualifying started. So I was practicing. You have to guess the light just a touch to get that competitive advantage.
And you got second that year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like
Nobody
there were some
clean.
egregious ones that I'm sure everybody at home knows the ones we're talking about. But there's almost every race there's like that. You're trying to get a competitive edge on the other person by even if you're like here, which is like your back bumper's on the front bumper, that's a clean start for them.
Yep.
But even if you just do a little bit where you're accelerating a little bit to get to there, so your bumper's on their bumper instead of this way, it just that little bit of momentum can carry you through, or it can help quite a bit. Much less starting.
I can't imagine trying to officiate that as an event, but TX2K is a pretty good system where if they call a bad start, they have a light that goes green or red. If it goes red, because left lane's supposed to be ahead, right lane chases. So if right lane's ahead and they call a red light, then it's right lane that's in the wrong. If left lane's ahead and they're going too fast, it's their fault. If right lane's 2 cars behind and this car's going the right speed, then it's right lane's fault. So they get 2 warnings, and then the person that did it correctly goes forward.
I think they also swap them.
Yep.
Like, so if you were the pacer, it's like, all right, maybe you just suck at pacing. We'll swap you to this lane. Let the other guy give a chance.
Yeah,
I think
remember
after
all those rules.
I think they get 1 warning, they go to the same, and then on the last one they go back.
Gotcha.
It's flip. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And if you can't get it in 3 races, there's like, well, the guy who didn't mess up, the guy who only messed up once gets to move on, basically.
Not only slingshots, but the drag race eliminations were pretty sad. The number of red lights. These aren't professional drag racers, but there was at least 40, 50 red lights on Sunday.
Yeah, that was for the eliminations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the most frustrating part is when you're at the big end and like I'm waiting for people to come down thinking races are going to be good. And then I just hear you guys on the walkies as soon as they leave, it's like, oh, you red lit. And so the rest of the race, I'm just like, well, this isn't fun.
That did happen. And it happened throughout the entire, like all the classes.
Yep.
It was really bad in the GTR class because obviously they have, what is it, the 4-10-second delay?
The way the launch control works on GTRs, I'm not sure if everybody at home knows this. There is a delay. So you're on they use the factory launch control because they have to through the transmission. So there's no like way to just let the button react quicker. That's as fast as it goes. So when you're on launch control on GTR, you let go. It's like a 4/10 delay. So you almost have to guess at the light to get a really good reaction time.
And so because of that, for me, when we were going through all the winners, I saw that Shep from T1 had won the GTR Unlimited class. And I was like, I don't even remember that. And Fred's like, well, yeah, it's because Mac red lit. The race was a weird race. So it was hard to remember.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God.
It's almost like a blue ball. It's like, oh, we wanted to, it's at the finals, we want a good race. And it's like, congrats to Shep, of course, for winning.
For sure.
But it's just like, oh, we just wanted to see a good race.
And
it's
it was
the
like,
final.
there was like so many. And then it hit with that one. And I was like, no, come on.
Yeah. But it was still my favorite. I think it was my favorite TX2K week overall from everything that happened. It was just amazing. Speaking of weird outcomes, the stick shift class.
Yeah.
Our boy Aaron Lopez.
Yeah, H22 crew
Ended up winning.
He won in his Honda Civic.
Nick Coleman. We didn't put it in the video. Nick Coleman broke, so that's why there was no final in the video. So our friend Aaron, the underdog, a second slower than a few of the other cars.
Yeah, there was a lot of breakages too.
Oh yeah,
which was disappointing. Like when that was the final and the Honda just rolls up and it's like, oh, I guess he wins. And then, God, what class? I think it was the exact same class. There was 4 buys and only 2 races in the first round or something like that.
I don't recall.
It was the Honda, the 2 all-wheel drive car. It was a Honda and Miles paired up, the 2 DSMs paired up. And then Tick was by himself, Nick was by himself, and then the other 2 cars were also by themselves. The white C6. Whatever, but yeah, it was crazy. Like there were so many breakages and
stick shift racing has a lot of broken cars in it.
Yeah.
TX2K has turned into a race of attrition because there were 9
qualifiers,
qualifying rounds.
Now you don't have to come up for every round, but it was surprising by the 9th round there were a lot of people there, probably because that was the best air they saw all week. So a lot of people that like the 6th, 7th, 8th qualifiers were a little lighter. 9th qualifier, a lot of people came up because the air was so much better.
Yep.
But that is also a reason why I love stick shift class, because anything can happen. Anybody can miss a shift. Anybody can break something. Anybody can have a bad launch. So the fact that a Honda went all the way to the end, it's like what's the car that like at World Cup do we see break the most?
Hondas, dude.
The fact that the Honda was the thing that, and he beat the world's quickest and fastest, literally, like by attrition of making it to the last bit. He beat the quickest and fastest H-Pen or stick shift cars on the planet.
And I talked to Nick Coleman. I think it was in the quarterfinals, maybe. I don't remember. And I was like, are you getting ready for a big run? He's like, well, I think it's hurt. I was like, all right, so you're going to take it easy, or you're going to try something to get ready for the next round? He's like, I'm just going to go all out. I'm always all out. I'm like, that ended up hurting him.
He told me that he had changed his transmission and rear gear setup for this event, and he was trying some new stuff, and I think he was having troubles with that. But every time I was like, so what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm going to just send it, just see what it'll do. Because, I mean, when you think about it at this point, he's trying new stuff to go quicker. I talked to him about it, and he's like kind of frustrated with how his car was operating. I was like, well, dude, nobody's done what you've done. Nobody's done a 649.
Yep.
So nobody's even tried to go faster than 649.
Yeah.
So you're trying things that nobody's done because nobody's done them. You have to try things and see if they work and everything. He's like, I didn't look at it like that. It's like, well, yeah, you have to. Like, he's the quickest and fastest stick shift car on the planet, and it's a little S10. Like, and when you meet Nick, it's like he's the best guy in the world. But
I love
it's like,
that, dude.
When you tell people, it's like that car right there. I love pointing at his S10 and telling people it's the quickest and fastest car on the planet.
They're just like, what?
They're like,
Yeah.
really? I was like, that's it right there. And that's the driver right there. It's the coolest thing in the world.
I think
Yeah,
the first time I saw him was he at Meet in the Middle?
Yeah,
He
it
might have
was
been.
In St. Louis.
No, because
was.
he broke the I think he broke the LS powered stick shift record at the time, or small block stick shift record at the time. He broke one of those at the Meet in the Middle, I believe.
I think that might be the first time I saw him race. And I was like, who is this dude?
Yeah, it's the
He's
first time I
wild.
went over and talked to him. But like, yeah, you talk to Nick and you'd never know unless he was next to the truck that he's the world's fastest stick shift driver.
He's such a nice guy. He's like him and his girlfriend and his crew show up to races and they just have a great time. They don't care if they blow stuff up. Like just the fact that he is the quickest and fastest is just awesome.
He's blown a lot of stuff up in a big way.
Oh,
World Cup finals.
We filmed him do that.
It's like on fire. I don't know, lots of wild stuff. One other thing about roll racing, the sand trap stuff was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
People got confused. They saw our spring break shirts. They're like, let's go to the beach.
Yeah.
They went
Dude.
They weren't supposed to go at the track, but we had 3 people.
Okay, like I've never seen 3. Like, we've been doing this for how many years? Kyle, I don't know if you've seen it. I've never seen 3 cars go into the sand trap in one day.
In roll racing.
I don't think so. I
In
haven't
one
either.
day.
Mm-mm.
No,
But let's talk about the one that went so far into the sand trap that if it was any other track in the world, it would have hit the back or went through the back because this is the longest sand trap I've ever seen.
that
Supra.
sand trap had to be almost an 1/8 mile.
I think it was 600 feet.
It had to be.
It was
Yeah.
long.
It was crazy.
It was.
And he was at least 450 feet into that thing.
Yeah, I'd say.
He thought he entered about 180. The track thought maybe 150.
Mm-hmm.
Like he trapped 205, I think. So I don't know how did he just not use the brakes? Did he accelerate another 400 feet or something?
The parachute didn't work, and then the crew came over and they pointed at my little media vest. They go, his rotors looked like that when he came by, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
So was the throttle stock? Because like to
I don't
still
know.
carry that much speed with the
It
brakes
must have
on.
been lighter. It was a Supra, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a Supra, and they said that they didn't have good brakes in the back. They just relied on the parachute. They had TBMs in the front, but they didn't do them all the way around. The backs were just whatever, so they weren't really doing anything. So all this momentum was trying to be stopped by 2 little racing rotors in the front.
The rear brakes don't do nearly as much work as the front brakes.
For sure.
But still.
But they weren't upgraded or anything. But yeah, I don't know. That's what they were saying about it.
So I wasn't up there for the Supra. I think
Yeah.
that was when I was sleeping or something when I came, or I had just gotten there for it. I was up there for the Mustang that went in next, and I went up there and I was like, I was like, how far did the Supra go? They're like, probably another 150 feet. I was like, oh my god,
It was at least double that.
When you're up there and walking in the sand, you're like, how did a car carry this much speed this far? It was like like the only thing I can think is like the cars have very flat bottoms, maybe because they're race cars, so they just glide over it. And when I was up there, I talked to one of the firefighters. I was like, what did that look like? And he's like, we're just chilling. Like they're just chilling in the truck or whatever, and they're facing kind of down track, but they're not paying attention. The cars are coming down track because it's like a million cars come. They get called every 100. And they said all of a sudden just a flash went by them, and like it was a car going into the pit. And they're like chilling or just go right. And, like they had to go get the car. I was like,
There was a guy with a flag down there, that to like wave people over. I was like, "What, dude? Did you forget to put the flag up? What happened?" And then the next time I came down, I was like, "What are you doing?" And the third time, he's like, "I'm sorry, bro."
Yeah, the GTR actually stopped where it was supposed to. It maybe stopped like 80 feet in. I mean, not far at all. But the Supra, hold on. The Supra, we couldn't pull it out with a side-by-side or vehicle.
Well, yeah, they were trying to get a tractor down there, but it was going like 10 miles an hour to get down the end of the track. So they just took like 25 people and tug of war the thing.
Yeah,
out of there.
it was
Manpower.
crazy to
That's
see.
awesome.
Literally, humans just pulled it out, and it went fast. It looked efficient.
Yeah,
They were worried about
were
like a
dead.
four-wheeler getting stuck.
and people wonder how we built the pyramids.
It wasn't with drag racers.
I think the blocks. I think the blocks are a little bigger than a Supra as well.
Yeah.
Drag racing might be a sport, but they're not athletes.
If the blocks were on wheels, could have got it done.
That's for another podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Exploring the wonders of the world with 1320.
Jeez. Anything else in roll racing to
Just-
note?
Just those crazy
Oh,
miles.
the traffic purple R8.
Oh, R.I.P. I'm
Oh
sure they
my
can
God.
fix it. I'm
Yeah,
sure
it
they
was-
can fix
It
it.
looked fixable.
But when that car debuted, what's his name?
Keith Maddox.
Keith Maddox. That's what it was. Yeah,
Boost Logic.
he always gets really cool colored cars, and he ordered that traffic purple R8. And if you Google traffic purple R8, it's the same car in every photo. It's that car. There was only one in the world,
Yep.
as far as I knew, unless somebody had just ordered like a last year one.
Now, the car on the back of our spring brake design right here looks like the same car, but that was a rep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, but
So there is only one of them.
traffic
yeah.
purple is one of those generic colors as well, where it's just like you can buy vinyl in traffic purple. You can buy a lot of stuff in that color, so he could get all the stickers
Oh,
matched
it
and
was
everything.
the real one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
was.
thought it was the wrapped
no,
one.
no.
So
No,
Keith
way
Maddox,
more sad.
Keith Maddox sold it to our friend here in Omaha, Jordan Jackson.
I remember
He
that.
sold it to this other guy, and
Dang.
Yeah.
car
Oh my God, I thought
car
it was
got
the wrapped
squirrely
one.
and spun, and the back bumper hit, and I think the front hit, and I think.
did you see the angle from Flow Racing?
No.
Like our angle made it look pretty bad, but theirs, it like he did like graze it, but it still went like 180 miles an hour into the wall. It was pretty violent.
One of my friends, the track photographer, was down there and got photos from the top
Andrew?
end. And it was like, is that his name? I forget.
Oh.
He honestly don't remember. I'm really bad with the
I
names.
thought Andrew from Booston was down there.
Oh, no, not
Okay.
him. It was the Texas Motorplex guy. He's like the track guy. And every time I go there, he's like super nice and everything. But he was down at the top end and I saw his photo and the pink R8 was like so far facing towards the wall. And then it came back with like crazy momentum and then just slapped the wall with its back.
Yeah, that car is. I didn't know it was that bad. Probably RIP then to the only traffic.
Well, I
purple
mean, it's not
Maybe.
like a total.
Depends
It
on the,
just
it depends on the frame.
oh
Yeah, those
Frame.
frame rails get bent in the back. It depends
Oh.
how hard he hit.
I didn't go over and see.
It's definitely a car
I-
worth fixing if it's fixable.
I really wanted that car. It
definitely.
was like one of the non-white cars that I really like.
Oh,
It looks
Kyle's
in
gonna
the
throw some
chance.
color in there, huh?
Nah.
You know what would look good? A Ruby Star 9 or GT3.
Ooh. Yes.
What color is that?
It's pink.
Oh,
It's like they're famous.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's Porsche.
Yep.
It's Porsche pink.
Yeah.
Basically.
is that the color they painted the old 911s in too?
It's
Yeah,
they've
I
had
like
that color
one.
for a while. They used to
We
call
saw
it,
one in Germany.
Yeah, we did.
They used to call it.
at Panhorse.
It's called Ruby Star now. It used to be called something else. Ruby something.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. But that car would probably be
But
like
that one's pink. The other one's purple.
that'd be like 350, 400,000 probably to get that.
Yeah, Kyle and I saw a really old 911 with the Ruby Star on it.
It's such a
You
good
would have
color.
known
Such
what
a good
exactly
color.
year, but I can't.
And
It's
it was
probably-
sitting next to
The blue one.
teal or blue. Yeah.
It was like a
Oh, yeah,
nice
light blue.
Yeah.
It's probably a
Smart.
73 RS because they did all types of wild colors.
They
in
had
those
so
things
many
back in the day.
rare Porsches in that.
That was
place.
the craziest Porsche collection I've ever seen in my life.
It was like a Roman themed building with different rooms that just had rare Porsches
Yeah,
everywhere.
there was like a courtyard and then like all surrounding was different rooms. God, that place was insane.
Well, I have fun one now. Thanks, guys.
We,
Yeah.
Yeah, same
we
Jade.
hopped into a car from a turbo shop to go for a ride. And he's like, I've always wanted to go in here. You guys want to check it out? I was like, sure. And then we spent like 3 hours in there.
Yep. At least it's on our YouTube.
Yeah.
So you guys can go see it.
We'll put the link in the description below.
I can go see it too.
Yeah,
All of
means
our
I can go see it
stories
too.
are on like photo or video so that we can go relive them.
Mhm.
They're all so cool stories.
All right, let's get into drag racing. Some moments from this week that were very ingrained in my head. George's fire, for sure. That one was really scary.
Especially how long it took to get fire down there, get the fire out.
Yeah.
It's methanol, so you can't see the flames.
He
So,
didn't know he was on fire.
Yeah, to anybody else, if you're just looking at it, you probably see like the heat signature coming off of it. You know, you see in like cars in the distance, see that. You could see that, can't see a flame. So he was literally on fire, and I talked to him about it. I was like, how hot? He's like, it started getting really hot when he started slowing down. And he realized he was on fire, and it took so long for anybody to get up there.
Yeah, it's like that scene from Talladega Nights where he's like, and everyone thinks it's a joke because he's like, you can't tell he's on fire. That's actually how it is. Like Fred just said, you cannot see the flame.
Yeah,
but
scary.
Yeah, we got down there, and you guys, I think, got there, or we all got there, and they're spraying foam everywhere with a giant fire hose, covered the whole car.
So, an embarrassing moment for me. I put a GoPro in his car. George doesn't like GoPros in his car. He's like, fine, whatever. And then we got talking. After I put the roll bar, like I was finishing tightening, we started talking about something. I forgot to hit the record button. And he's like, well, Kyle, at least you have a really cool video. And then Matt grabs the GoPro out of the car. He's like, it's not recording. I'm like,
I would have thought it just turned off from the heat, but it didn't.
It melted the screen protector on it. Everything's fine on it. But I was pretty sad about that one. Anyway, but then when we were going down to get to the time slip booth so that we could like hide and see that moment of him realizing he re-broke the record again. It was 640.
He did a 640.
He was still excited,
and he did 642, and then he did 640.
Yeah.
After that,
and the overall GT record's like a 36 or something by June 2
with that R32,
which was actually still in Texas from the GTR festival in November. It was in one of the booths there by the staging lanes.
Oh, that was that car?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's the world's quickest GTR.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's got a RB 30 with a TH400, I think, all-wheel drive still. Is it TH400?
If it's a if it is a TH400, then any of George's cars should be able to qualify for the record. That's all I'm saying.
Isn't June 2 technically a GTT?
Is it?
I think it is.
Anyway, we're not going to get into that. So we went down to the time slip booth, and we were like getting close to the time slip booth. I was like, it looked like a marshmallow. It was like this white bubble.
Yeah,
like,
it was weird.
Oh, that's fire suppression.
They covered the whole car. It was wild.
Was literally just a bubble. Like the photos we got and stuff were after it started disintegrating. It was just this huge white bubble. And so I was going 21.5 miles an hour as fast as those stupid scooters will go. I'm like, come on. I'm fumbling with my phone trying to get it not wreck. And I'm like, oh my God. George was over here. I'm like, oh, thank God.
When I saw it happen, honestly, most of my thoughts were, I wonder what Kyle's thinking. Because this is like your Audi wreck, or not like the Audi wreck, but when you're on fire and it's just, I was like, it's smoking so much. I was like, God, I hope he gets out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fires are definitely scary.
For sure.
But George is just cool as a cucumber.
Yep.
He explained it to me. When he stopped, there was like a little bit of a pop, like a smoke or whatever. They leave the cars running to cool them down when they're done. And he saw a little bit of smoke, and then it started getting warm, and the engine battery stopped, or in the cockpit. He's like, oh man, I'm on fire. And then he hit the fire suppression. I think he killed it, got out, and then it took a while because the fire team was down there. They just didn't know it was on fire until he yelled at them. And then they're trying to find a Zeus opener, like a flathead or something, to get the hood off. Took him a little bit of time. And then it was still fueling the fire. And I think maybe the
fuel line popped off, I think they said, right?
Yeah, I think that was the cause they were thinking. But somehow the car tried starting itself after a minute or two. So like maybe some wires got melted together.
Do you remember that happening to Lucas English like 7 years ago?
Really?
I seem to remember. That was at Houston, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a testing day afterwards, I think.
Yes, it was. I'm glad you remember that because that's what I remember. The car was on fire, and all of a sudden, like, he's standing there outside the car, and it starts to try to start itself.
Holy shit.
That's the last time I remember that happening.
This is that TX2K?
No, it was actually that Houston Quick 30 or something. Or it was like the day after some event we were there for.
But it was at Houston.
He got kicked out of Vegas.
Yeah, so he
and
made a
drove-
16-hour drive there because no other track would let him.
It was when everyone was trying to run a 6.
Yeah, before
And
everyone.
he wanted to be the first one.
Yeah, that was so long ago. But yeah,
Dang,
that's the
yeah,
last
it
time I
was.
remember
I don't
that.
even remember that.
That was the last time I remember that.
Yeah, Lucas has been through
It's
some
like
stuff.
in the back of my brain, I would have never remembered that until you just started talking about
I don't think it's in my brain at
I
all.
don't remember what we were there for. But we were filming that quick 30 race, and Lucas just happened to show up. I'm like, what the heck are you doing here?
He's like, yeah, the track said I could come. Like they kicked out, like you said, kicked out of Vegas. So he's like, well, this is the closest track, and they're open. So
Yep. And then speaking of Dodworths, Christine. Oh my gosh.
First 6.
You know when the first 7-0 she ran was?
I don't.
World Cup Finals
Okay.
2022.
no,
Wow.
hasn't done a 6. Really?
Over 2 years ago.
That would be frustrating.
She's been working for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, over 2 years ago.
Jeez.
I remember when she got that GTR as a gift from George at TX2K.
Wow.
Yeah. Like that's when she got it. And then literally since that day we photographed it. We've been photographing her and videoing her ever since.
It used to be red, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him giving it to her. I swear it was on the start line.
Way better in white.
And it was red. Yeah. No, it looks so Light Fury and Night Fury. It's,
Yeah.
I love their little combo
And
thing
Night
they
Terror
got
is the
going.
rear wheel, right?
Yeah. The scary
That
one.
thing looks the white. That thing looks so mean. Just
Yeah.
it looks like a stormtrooper from hell type of
Huge
GTR.
wing.
But she did her first 6 and then backed it up with 2 more 6s.
Yep.
Got it down to a 678.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about this job is being able to tell people on the big end before they know
Uh-huh.
that they broke a record, they did
Okay.
a personal best or anything like that. That's my personal favorite thing to
Yes.
do. And when I went up to her, I was like, "Sorry you lost, but another PB." And she's like, "Yeah," and it was like 678. And she's like, "It's that."
Her reaction to that video.
That it's the best thing. It's like because you'll never get that genuine reaction again to hearing you broke a record
Yeah.
or did personal best. It's the best thing in the world.
That's
So
cool.
Matt and I had
Oh my
this
God.
was the most awkward, longest drawn out celebration of a first anything I've ever been a part of. So Christine runs her first 6, and we cut the celebration short on the video, but Terrence, the guy with the long hair from T1, every time T1 does something, I'm always looking for him right away because he's always jumping like 5 feet in the air, throwing his headset like all the way down the track or what. He broke his headset on Tuesday when George broke the record.
His headset makes it like 100 feet in the air.
Uh-huh.
Like I
He
swear.
finally broke it on Tuesday.
Good for him.
So we got a new one. But I'm looking for him in the extended video. I'm like, where's Terrence? Where's Terrence? I'm like, okay, I'll study it for Tony. Wow. And they're like, where's Terrence? Oh my God, he needs to be here. He was back with George because he was getting ready
Oh, gotcha.
and prepping him. And no one thought she was going to run a 6 because it's been 2.5 years. So then we decided to go down. Matt and I decided to go down to catch her at the time slip booth. So we got to the time slip booth and we're hiding in the time slip booth. Shout out to the lady in the time slip booth, DeMarcus, the track manager's mom.
It's his mom.
Such
She's
a nice
sweet
lady.
Every
She
time I
is.
went by, she's like, "Hey." She wrote a little note on Christine's time slip. It was
Oh,
like,
that's
God
yeah.
bless you. You finally did it.
Yeah.
Yes,
It was
that's
so
so
cute.
cool.
But we're sitting in the time slip booth for like a minute, watching Christine through the window. I'm like, why isn't she moving? So we finally went down there, and I didn't want to spoil a surprise. So I'm like, I'm just kind of casually like, oh, we're just down here for no reason. And I was like, go get her time slip, Matt. And so he goes to get her time slip, and her parachute was on top of the car, and the cord got wrapped around her axle, and it ruined the parachute. So they had to cut it off. But so I'm just sitting down there, kind of talking to her, and I'm like, you know what you ran, by the way? And she's like, looking at her phone. She's like, I'm starting to get messages. I was like, oh my God, you ran your first 6. I don't want to. We're very careful not to. We want to wait for their crew to get there so they can celebrate with them if there's the time.
Right.
But also we want to catch them in the moment of knowing that. So it's like this weird fine balance. So then Matt comes with the time slip. She's freaking out again. And then Terrence shows up. I'm like, Terrence is here finally. And he's like he went to the
tackles her.
parachute first. Or he lifted Christine up and
tackled
hugged
her.
her for like
Yeah.
10 seconds. Yeah, pretty much tackled her. Then he's trying to get the parachute off. And then one of the other T1 guys, I think Stewart, showed up.
I think Wade was down
Yeah.
there too.
And then then Christine got a call from George, and Christine's like, George is about to run. His fire jacket's in the car. So Matt took his fire jacket down there, and George still hasn't celebrated with her. And so she was down there for like a half hour, and then towed her back to the pits. She got stopped along the way, maybe to talk to the time slip lady. And so I was sitting there for like 5 minutes waiting for her to show up. And then people were kind of like casually cheering because it had been a half hour. and then we never saw her and George. It was just so weird. It was weird.
Speaking of reactions, I gotta say the best one was the Trackhawk.
Oh my God.
I wasn't there for that. I
I've
heard
never
it was,
seen somebody react so violently to breaking a record.
Giddy's the closest it comes.
I've never been like there for a giddy
True.
reaction.
Did you guys see Sana's, I think, boyfriend react to her first 7? I think, bro, he outdid
The white R8.
Terrence. No.
What?
Sana, Lady Zilla with the black GTR from AMS. She did her first 7, and her boyfriend, I'm not kidding. In all the 13 years I've done this, I've never seen anyone react so viscerally. Like, he was like, yeah, like it was just insane. I got some photos of it we can throw up, but it was like full extent. Like, this dude was hyped. He was like so hyped. I was like, dang, if I don't have that energy for my partner, I don't want it. It was nuts.
With the Trackhawk guy.
Dude, the Trackhawk guy. Oh my gosh, dude. He fist bumped me, and I swear he dislocated one of my knuckles. It was that freaking hard. But like, gets out of the car, he's like running around, punching the air, like screaming. It was a full spectacle. It was crazy. I've never seen anybody. Here you go, right here on the screen.
Apparently there was some background behind some drama with the Mopar world and the Trackhawks.
Right. So supposedly, the record was in Puerto Rico, and they had him beat by like 2/10, I want to say.
Okay.
And allegedly, that track is like 200 feet shorter than a full quarter mile or something like that. So,
Which sounds really weird.
yeah.
I know.
And they were talking a bunch of smack on him. So, like, this record meant everything to this guy.
You can tell he's just talking.
Oh, dude,
Talking.
he's not just talking. He is screaming.
Oh, yeah.
He is full on screaming.
No,
Yep,
but you
that's
get-
where he dislocated my knuckle.
I don't know what he's saying right now, but I bet he's saying like, "Screw those guys. They thought they couldn't do it."
Oh,
blah,
yeah.
blah. It looked like that type of
Yeah.
aggressively excited broke the record.
I think we left it out of the video to keep our channel PG, but him and his girlfriend were basically dry humping on the engine.
that photo
when I was-
made it on the internet.
it's on the
no, I saw
Facebook.
the photo. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my goodness!"
They were just
They were pretty excited.
sitting
He requested
on the
it, so.
engine.
There was no thrusting. It just looked like they were.
Yeah,
dry
they were
humping.
just sitting on the engine. Calm down, Kyle.
It was a lot of fun to hang out with those guys. I didn't want to leave. There's these celebrations. I just want to hang out and party with these guys.
It was
There's some
definitely a high
really
point
good
of that day.
celebrations.
Shout out
this
to
time.
Ripatoon for their big record.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's one of my favorite parts, I think. Like, when I thought about my favorite races or my favorite moments, it's when people get excited like that. Because you get to experience that emotion. And like, with all the different things that were happening at that race, there were so many like people that were actually getting excited. Like, you know, when someone breaks a record on the line or does something crazy, and then their guys are standing there just straight faced, like, all right, let's go get ready for the next one or something like that. And it's like, dude, you just won.
Yeah.
I like to see people like Terrence or whoever we've seen on TX2K this past time just
Launch
jumping
their
around
headphones.
and like, dude, seeing a grown man cry like when his girlfriend or his brother or whoever wins is like, that's so cool. You don't get to see that in life. And I feel like that's just something that is unique to our job. We get to see people experience like such intense emotions.
That and we go to so many races, we get to know these people personally. They're like,
Yeah.
we just have friends, and they're just at different races throughout the year that we see them at. And so it's like we're genuine when we're filming like Christine do a 6, we are genuinely so excited for Christine because she's a friend of ours and she's
Yeah.
been trying to do this. We've been filming her for
Years.
to try to do this, and like it's so exciting for them. It's equally as exciting. We feel like we're like a mini part of their
Yeah,
crew.
exactly.
The fact that we've been filming them for years and we get to document this.
George and Christine are some of the most humble, caring, nice people we see
Oh,
at
yeah.
street
That's
car
true.
events. And it was just so amazing to see him have such a great weekend. Even with George's Fire, like they had an amazing week. I visually saw 4 tears come out of Christine's face. One of them ended up on the time slip. I got a picture of her time slip with a little tear on it.
Nice.
Nice.
It was hilarious. But T1 in general had a crazy performance.
Great weekend.
They had like 14
They
cars
brought
there.
so many cars. Tony was so busy. I saw him like the last day only. Like
Yeah.
so many cars.
3 of their cars got first or second in the classes they were in. I think
Yeah.
we had Shep with Shep Trans. He got first in the GTR Unlimited class. And then you had the blonde lady with the white GTR. I
Yep.
think she shifted over from Joe Tech to T1 and or something like that. and she did really well. I think she won or got second place.
She got, I think, second.
And then Christine got second.
Yeah. The girl in the white R8, her best time before that weekend was 8:50. She ran a 7:12.
Oh my.
Jesus.
She's
and it
probably
had
having
58
fun.
millimeter turbos on it.
See, you said that the other day.
I asked
and
Tony
I was
3
like,
times. 58?
That's impressive.
That's-
being that small.
They're newer turbos. Christine's on like a 6-year-old.
No, yeah, but that, like
68s.
still, the fact that turbo technology has gotten the 58s to
Mhm.
bottom 7s
Yeah,
is insane to
That
me.
is crazy.
That is insane to me.
Yeah. But going back to what you're saying about being at TX2K partying with our friends, we talked
Yeah.
about the slingshots, talked about the roll racing, how messy the racing was. TX2K is like the peak of bringing together our group of core friends in street car racing. It's
Basically, yeah.
it was just so much fun, and that's part of the reason why it was my favorite TX2K week, is seeing all these people with these accomplishments, personal best, debuting a new car, winning classes, right, like beating people that they really wanted to beat for years, things like that. It was just a really rewarding week overall.
It
Oh.
was.
Brett LaSala
Oh,
won the final in his class, and when I talked to him afterwards, he was pretty emotional. And normally Brett's just happy and just
Yeah.
excited, like, let me go get my winning shoes, like just happy-go-lucky guy. He was emotional on the big end. I was like, what's up, man? And he was like, he said the car wasn't running right yesterday, and he was down on 7 cylinders. And he said, he said when he woke up, he was not planning on even putting it into eliminations on round 1.
yeah.
He said he was just the car's not gonna make it rounds. I'm just gonna hurt something. This isn't good. And then he said he had the car out just like in his pits, and kids came by to get pictures with him and pictures of the car. And he saw all these little fans so excited to see his car. He's like, well, I got to at least put it in the beans first round now. He's like, there's 16,000 people here. Bunch of little kids just stopped to just see me. I can't let them not see the car go down track. And then he just went round and round and round and round, and he won with a 634 in the finals on 7 cylinders. That was like the most excited I've ever seen him. Like,
That's crazy.
even even like a 607 at Sick Week, he was just kind of like, yeah, it's the car's supposed to do that. But here it was like he battled the whole last day, and he didn't even want to do it when he woke up, which was awesome to see.
And he beat Brian Cummins in the final, who has gone to the semifinals for 4 years in a row.
I feel so bad for that man.
I don't. He had an amazing week.
He did.
Personal best every single pass through the quarterfinals, semifinals, and he took out White Rice.
Yeah,
White
he
Rice
took
had
out
an
Dirty
issue, but
Taco
still.
and White Rice.
Yeah.
That's
That's right.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Dude.
Took out
I
their
don't
whole
think
camp.
He was
crying on the way
hyped.
home.
And
He
then
was,
his main crew guy, Eric's like my homie. He's been on a lot of fast cars. David Farlow's car. But they've been working so hard to get faster and faster, and they're on the single turbo still. And so they've been trying to like get as much as they can out of that single turbo. And I told him, I was like, maybe you should just paint your stripes green. And he's like, no, we're keeping it blue. He's like, we might just have to go with twin turbos or whatever. He's like, that
they were
darn
gonna
green
switch to
car.
twin turbos, but now they're questioning if they want to stick with
Yeah.
a single.
And he goes, that darn green car is my kryptonite.
That's great.
I
Yeah.
asked at least 5 people before the final. I'm like, who you got? Like between the Supra and Brett LaSala, every single person's like, I got Sala.
How about that dust storm?
Oh,
That was fun. I got a sinus infection from it because I'm allergic to everything in the air. But it was like we had like 40-mile-an-hour winds.
It was
but
aggressive.
It was like 90-mile-an-hour winds out in West Texas.
Aggressive.
All the cars are
Aggressive.
dirty.
We were going out on the streets. It was just like
That
all
was-
the cars were just covered in dust.
That was the
Yeah.
craziest part, is going out on the streets that night. We just driving into the city, and the city just glows because it just like, imagine the most smog you've ever seen. That's what it looked like. And it was just like, also, I've never seen on my weather app, I opened it up. Like I think I had woke up and I was like I just checked my thing because we were about to go out that night, and I hadn't seen outside yet. I hadn't seen the dust storm yet. And it said like dusty or severe dust. I was like, I've never seen that on that before. I look outside, I was like, oh my God. And there
It
was
was bad.
they didn't even go dig racing that night. We were supposed to do a
Yeah.
cash days that night. We didn't do a cash days because the roads were so dusty.
Mhm.
They didn't want to run.
I was worried about traction on the streets, but roll racing was fine. I think cars driving down the highway just
Yeah.
blew it
Just
off.
blew it
wasn't
off.
a big
Yeah,
deal.
exactly.
It was bad enough I could feel it in my teeth. You know, you're
Yeah.
walking around, you kind of like,
Gritty.
yeah, you can feel it. Like the wind took it out of me. Like TX2K is already hard enough to get like stay up, stay
Mhm.
energized.
The
When you
wind
add
will-
that wind,
Yeah.
man, I was fighting for my life.
Yeah. Cool. Speaking of which, let me FaceTime Reese, the new member of our film crew. He's been waiting for a little bit, and we can segue into our street stuff here.
Yeah, so some of you guys might have seen what we posted a few months ago that we were looking for a new video person to come on the road with us and do what we do. And this has been the crew for 11, 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
Been this crew for a while, and we're looking to expand our crew, and we did. And his name's Reese, who's from Tampa. He's moving up here to Nebraska here in a couple weeks.
Yep.
And this was his legit first full event, which is awesome. Like my first full event was 2K in 2013, so it's awesome that his first event was 2K25. I don't know if you could have had a better first week.
Yeah,
before.
exactly. He was just on cloud nine the whole time.
Yeah.
He quote said, "This was the most remarkable night of my life."
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was Saturday night street racing, and
Yeah.
we'll hear that from him in a second.
Yep.
Let me FaceTime him. Hello. How's it going? Good. All right, flip your phone. There you go. Perfect.
Do we need to record that somehow?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Make sure I'm recording. Yeah, we're good. Cool. All right. We got Reese on the line. You're what? 8 days into being a 1320 video employee.
Quite the crazy starting week out here.
Yeah, TX2K is a great way to break you in from a bunch of different perspectives. But I wanted to get, we're just starting to talk about street racing, and was there any, we talked about all the crazy moments TX2K, but I wanted to hear your experience on the Texas streets, because you had a very special, Reese's week, even just the one night on Saturday would have been like my top five. I've been doing it for 20 plus years. Just walk us through
Hang on, real quick.
Yeah.
I remember like one of the first nights Reese told me, he's like, dude, but I asked him the first car he got into. I think it was a 700 horsepower McLaren, like McLaren GT.
Oh yeah.
And he said, it just punches you, man. And I started laughing so hard because I was like, I just want to put him in a twin turbo R8 so bad right now because and then went from, that was his first car, badass first car, by the way, to get into.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the week, he was getting into the craziest stuff that was on the streets. Yeah, go ahead, Reese. Tell us how your Saturday was ridiculous.
Absolutely, yeah. It's hard to even say like where to start. Texas streets were alive and well this week at Texas 2K, and
yeah,
I had an amazing time. I was a little worried at the beginning of the week when we were bouncing spot to spot. It was like 3 a.m. at another gas station. Finally got kind of a decent group of cars together, and then Fast and the Furious style getting blocked in from all directions, and that.
Yeah, our first night we got skunked.
For sure, yeah. It was a little bit worrisome, but then going out, I want to say our first good night was Thursday night to Friday morning, which even though that maybe just the streets alone wasn't the best of the whole week, it was still great time because, it was my first time getting some real experiences out there, and starting from, that was such a long day from us, starting at 7 a.m, going out to the track, getting to go to Yellow Belly, which is another great experience in itself.
Yeah, we got 2 hours of sleep to sacrifice to go to Yellow Belly. They had like a cash day shootout there.
So that was a great time out there. And then going straight out to the streets, we had a pretty good first night, good group of cars. As Fred said, first car getting in was a McLaren GT that had some bolt-ons and a tune. And went out and raced a few different things. We got a bit of a pack going out first thing of the night, and twin turbo V8. About 700. That it did punch, and I know that sounds, to you guys that have been seeing everything imaginable over the last couple decades. It's not
the
the most
McLarens
crazy
feel
thing.
so good from a roll. They're rear wheel drive, but it feels like they're all wheel. They just go.
Yeah, it was dead hooking and doing great, and. Gotten a good group of cars that night. One race I'm definitely excited to see back on tape was the bolt-on. It was like a heads cam intake C6 Z06 going out to race a C7. Now, both NA cars, and the C7 had this massive high ram with like a bell mouth inlet on the front of the throttle body, like max effort NA kind of thing. And first race we went out and unfortunately blew the motor. He got out on us like a couple cars and then just spectacular smoke show all over the place. Luckily, he was able to limp it home. Everything was fine. Didn't wreck or anything like that. he caught up
You got a
with me.
shot from behind, right? All the smoke pouring out.
Yeah, definitely.
I've seen that happen once before. It's just like the smoke screen going down the highway.
So he got in a McLaren, and then by the end of the week he was in the craziest, fastest cars.
Yeah,
And he was at Yellow Belly, TX2K, and he filmed cars blowing up. He got the most full experience you can possibly get for a new person.
Yeah.
It was a very busy week, absolutely.
The whole rest of the year is going to be boring compared to this, man. I'm sorry.
We filmed, like, I think Reese probably filmed at least 60 hours of content over 5 days.
Hell yeah.
So let's fast forward to Saturday, because that was just like amazing.
That was
and
the
you
crazy
had such
one.
a wide variety of cars that you rode in.
Although, just
So
real
step
quick
us
before
up.
we get to Saturday, a quick note. So we got up at 7, went out to the track the whole day, went out to Yellow Belly. That was awesome. Got to the streets. We're getting back to the hotel about 6 in the morning when we had started at 7 a.m. the previous day filming. And I see on the GPS, we're about 15 minutes out from the hotel, give or take. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm just going to sit here for just 1 second. I'm just going to chill. It'll be fine. And then we'll get to the hotel. And then the next day, I already have like 3 of my friends sending me a photo of me crashed out in the back seat that Kyle snuck.
The youngest guy on the crew fell asleep.
Yeah, I was getting crap. I'll never stop getting crap for that. So.
You got in the car and said, I'm so amped up, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. And then literally,
I'm just done.
I couldn't believe that. But
we've been there.
that actually was true on Saturday. I could not go to bed on Saturday. Was the most remarkable night, and to hear Kyle mention that's the best he's seen in a decade, and him going at you guys go at everything. That was an absolutely insane night.
Give us your roster, Reese. What'd you get into on Saturday?
Yeah, so first thing that caught my eye was this 14 GT that had a big single on it. He swapped
Big
an
Mustang
auto
guy.
in it. He was actually a customer of one of my buddies in Houston, so we recognized the car. I had to send him a photo real quick, but it was about an 800 horse car, and he had been running that for a little while. He didn't have a passenger seat, but when he saw the camera, he's like, "Oh, no." He went and grabbed a passenger seat out of his buddy's car so we could get the race off.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he
Are
went.
you serious?
Yeah, he went
Nice.
and got a seat put in it real quick for me, and we went out and raced it's about 700 horse Evo 8. And that was a pretty good side-by-side race. We got a couple runs down and another one back, and we pulled on him just a little bit. I mean, we had, 6-speed auto, but pretty good matchup for sure. That was fun. And then, we're just kind of BSing around. We ended up going to the second spot just because of how full things were getting. And that's where we got 3-wide lined up between Jackson Tabarite that Kyle was in, I was in Mo's R8, and then the red Performante of 3 twin-turbo V10 cars going side by side. And
They were all about 1,600 horsepower until Mo got some good gas and turned it up to like 1,750.
yeah, he was making some quick last-minute adjustments. He was over there airing down the tires, got some better ethanol content in it.
Real quick, Reese, before this past weekend, what was the highest horsepower car you've ridden in?
It was actually pretty recently. It was about an 800 horse Terminator. It was actually the fastest car I've driven too. It was a Turbo 400 Gen 5 Whipple Terminator.
Okay.
He's
So
broken.
add
now.
1,000 horsepower.
Yeah,
that was the R8 you're riding in.
Mm-hmm.
He's broken.
For sure. Yeah, and that car, even though, it's closer to 2,000 horsepower than anything, it's so, just so well put together, so well tuned, so smooth. You wouldn't even guess. It rockets, but it's so, finely engineered that you just couldn't
I
even...
think that was a Boost Logic kit put together by DME, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, the twin turbo V10s with the DCTs, they're just so smooth.
Flawless.
Until you floor it, you have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, just cruising up and down the highway, you would never know. It was a perfectly driving car. And Mo was telling me it's pretty much just a stock motor with some fuel and turbos at it, and it was doing amazing for what it was, which is pretty impressive.
What did it feel like?
I mean, it's like you're just getting completely glued to the back of the car. I started realizing as I was filming these cars, when I was getting the camera in there, I had to brace myself in a way that it would be I'd have to break a bone for that camera to move, because when I was just like this, I was getting thrown into the back of the seat. So I had to really get myself, it was like I was a tripod getting braced up in the seat there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we didn't give you the full training on that one. I usually hold the camera like this, where the screen is on my arm, the camera's on my shoulder, in my hand, and I'm so it won't move.
That's basically what I started doing was getting real. I learned quick that, you know, there's a lot of things going on, so I got to brace myself up. But that was an amazing experience. That was a good kickoff to the night. And then
we were racing a 1600 horsepower car. I was in the other R8, and I didn't know Mo turned it up. We had a really close race with the Red Performante and Mo, and then he shot out like 3 or 4 cars on us. Right, like just, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Well, then on the way back, when we looped around the highway and came back, that red Huracan wanted to run again. So he lined up next to Mo, and I flagged that, and we pulled on him a second time, probably a good car plus by the end of it. And we actually, there was a state trooper that had someone pulled over. We thought it was the construction crew going on, but it was actually guy that had a C6 that had gotten pulled over. So when we flew back, we let off and Mo brought it down real quick. And that Performante just kept going. I mean, he had to be over 200 going past that car, but he was sitting at the vet.
In Mexico.
Huh?
In Mexico.
Yeah, oh, for sure, yeah. Otherwise, you know, you gotta be illegal with it, but it was...
We take a private jet down to Mexico, film the roll racing, and then we come back for the track.
Right, that's where all our money goes, is the private jets.
Yeah, it's pretty extensive travels, but it makes it all worth it for sure.
So what'd you hop into after the R8?
Yeah, after that was getting into a Revuelto.
That's right. Oh my god.
We were going out to find a plaid, but there was a good group of guys rolling out, and we weren't able to locate him and all that. But what I did spot was a GTR that looked like it was pretty hot, and he was doing rolling anti-lag, getting onto the highway and all that, lighting up all four. So we got rolling up on the highway. It looked like, you know, bolt-ons, exhaust tune, that kind of stuff. It was probably 600 or 700, but maybe more, because I mean, he did hold up really well, and that Revuelto is like $100, you know, like $1,000 as far as like with hybrid as well, you know, V12 and hybrid.
What was that thing, stock or was it tuned?
It was a completely stock car.
Okay,
it only had like 600 miles on it, so it was like a brand new car. But yeah, we ran, and it was able to hold it off. I want to say it was a good race too, probably about half a car, maybe a little more. So
they're like 800 horsepower rear engine, and then 200 horsepower in the
I don't remember
electric, something like that.
It's almost 1,000 total,
Yeah.
but yeah.
and
It sounds, it's
surprised
not
me,
that
too.
loud, but it sounds so good.
If they
V12
just
in the back.
if they just put an exhaust on that thing, it would be.
It really kind of
nutsy.
caught me by surprise, because when we first started rolling out from the light, there was no sound at all, and then you just heard the V12 kind of take over. I was like, oh, all right, well, we definitely have some hybrid going on here. And what's really
The night before I raced that car, and we were in a McLaren. It was like 900 horsepower to the wheels, and we just barely edged them out by like a half car. And so that exhaust was right next to the window the whole time. It sounded so good.
Oh my gosh, they sound amazing. And what's really cool is they have their own gauge cluster on the passenger side of the car. So it's like your own little 1320
cool.
cluster while you're filming, which is kind of cool.
That's pretty sweet.
But so that was a great experience. And then I saw a Ford GT rolling in, an 0506 Ford GT. I couldn't believe
Reese is a big Mustang fan, big Ford guy.
That's like an
I give him
evolved
crap
Mustang.
all the time.
Like a
It'd be a
Charizard.
great value to our team because he's a big Mustang guy. I'll just leave it at that.
If you don't like a 0506 Ford GT,
Oh.
Yeah, there's something wrong.
Something wrong
you
with
can go ahead and get out.
Reese, I can see why this was the most remarkable night of your life, because even with all of us doing this as long as we have, would have definitely been
Like,
one of the most remarkable
not done
ones,
yet.
too.
Like I've gotten in all, like I haven't gotten in Revolta, but I've gotten in all these cars, but not in the same damn night.
No.
right?
Yeah.
I couldn't. It was the most diverse and just crazy time. And that rolled in. I was like, oh, absolutely got to make something happen there. And of course, you know, driver's a big 1320 fan. He loved to try to figure something out. So we were talking back and forth. We ended up going to a couple different spots until something lined up. And then he ended up getting a hold of a R8 and a Huracan, both stock cars. Obviously much newer cars, but stock cars. And we went 3 wide out on the highway. And did very surprising for a bone stock car that's 20 years old. Rowan gears, it did amazing. We went through third and fourth, and by the top of fourth, they had maybe half a car on us. Which I was,
Damn.
I was pretty
what a
impressed.
race.
Those things made 550 from the factory,
Yeah.
just for reference.
It's fun to chase after these big horsepower cars to get cool video, but the like 500 to 900 horsepower cars have the most fun
So many races.
because you can run like 15 times in one cruise session. And these big guys are like, they want to do one run and then cool down for 10 minutes.
But out of like the coolest stock cars you could take out for a
oh my
roll
gosh.
race.
Dude, Fortune
Yeah,
T's
that
way
was
up there on
pretty
that list.
good.
Yeah.
I was in love with it.
And then the best car of the night, what'd you ride in next?
After that, shoot, there was a lot of things going on. There was also a A90 Supra that had a big turbo on it. It was about 1050, and
Oh, you rode in that too?
we took.
Oh, okay.
That's the first car I rode in. We took that
Was that
out
white?
along with he was racing two C6 ZR1s, and he was having a little bit of issues with the car breaking up. Just I don't know what exactly he had going on. We got one good runoff, but it was kind of a little back and forth. The vets were a little bit quicker for sure, and so we got to our parking spot after that happened, and the vets needed to ice down. They were like pretty built cars with big blowers and ice tanks, and they were putting ice in after every pass. So after that concluded, he was putting more ice in it, and then he wanted to take me out. They had already finished running, but that red C601 with the carbon doors on it, and you could see the big Conk Performance blower sticking out the hood. He wanted to just take me for a ride just to feel it out. And that car had to be over 1200. Even though it makes, it's making less power than an R8, that probably felt like one of the strongest pulling cars of the whole night. I mean, they are just so impressive how they freight train. We got back out on the highway, and he did a little, no lift watt 3/4 shift, and holy crap, I was like squinting. That thing was just, I couldn't believe it, man. I was.
You said it had a
glued
blower
to
out the hood. Which car was that?
It
No,
was.
this is a C601.
Oh,
Those
okay.
high horsepower C6s are so fun to
They're
ride in.
insane.
Like they're just it just
the
feels
power.
so awesome.
You get peak torque like right when you launch from a roll on those things.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
Yeah, the whole thing squatted down. I mean, they are so planted. It was an amazing experience.
Between my R8 that was 1300 horsepower and my 900 horsepower ZR1, I liked my ZR1 a little bit more because it got sketchy every time I floored it. The R8 was just
when you get on it just wags the tail a little bit and then goes.
yeah, and then you got a bam.
I was in I don't know. I'll let him finish. Go ahead. Keep going, Reese.
So then you met up with us in the parking lot at the end of the night at like 6:30 in the morning in our taxi back.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We got to all ride 4 deep in a Tesla Plaid, which was freaking awesome. I'd never even been in
Which
that.
plaid was it?
It was one of our Mustang friends from Houston.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It was on like 60% battery power, so we couldn't do the plaid mode.
It still hit very hard.
That's like
Or
having
ludicrous mode.
that's like having half tank in like a twin turbo R8, I
But
guess.
I was like, Reese, you haven't been in one of these before? He's like, no. I was like, floor it. He goes,
Yeah, it surprised me every time because you don't get any cue that it's happening. You just boom back
No.
of the seat like nothing.
he did it once and I wasn't ready, and my head was like next to the headrest. I'm like,
it can hurt. It can hurt. Yeah.
just randomly. She'd be like,
we pulled him next to some BMW at the stoplight. I was like, hey, you want to go? He's like, sure.
"We'll give you the hit."
Gone.
You beat him?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we destroyed that in 3.
Oh my god.
Well, Reese, that was a great night for you. You're fired now because that was the best night you guys ever had.
Below
So
your head.
yeah, it's all downhill from here.
I couldn't believe it. And that white Mustang, I think Matt got to ride in with the big wing on it.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for this video, not even to get to relive and see the experience that I had, but I want to see all the experiences that the other guys had in the cars that they got into, because that white Mustang was just ridiculous with the rolling anti-lag. I mean, he left a plaid like we weren't even moving on the highway. I couldn't believe
That one hit the
thing.
track.
that
racing?
that
That's
Mustang was probably top 5 cars on the street we saw all weekend.
Dang.
That was
We only-
probably one of my favorite cars.
Oh.
Well, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about to talk about it.
Yeah. You want to keep them on when we talk about the rest of the stuff, or just would it be easier to just cut it short? All right, cool. We're gonna talk about a few other things. Reese, welcome to the team.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
You passed the tests. You made it through TX2K without quitting, so we're good.
Loved everybody.
Reese is gonna be joining us here in Omaha. He's moving up from Florida in a few weeks and going to Small Tire Gangsters with the crew. So we
Back
really
to
look forward to
Yellow
hanging out
Valley.
some more.
Yeah.
You impressed us this weekend. Welcome to the team.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
welcome, Reese.
Glad to
have
hear,
you
Reese.
here, man.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Peace.
See ya.
Bye,
See
we'll
you later.
Man.
Bye.
All right, back in the headphones.
Yeah. We're back locked in.
We are
Ooh,
back.
yeah.
I like this
I
a
do
lot.
too.
Reese is back.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, Reese is really impressed me. We had so many good applicants. It was so hard to choose. We had like 5 that were all just really good. It was so difficult to choose. But Reese's video that he sent us to apply was one thing that really caught our attention. He started with this drone shot. He was talking in front of 2 of his cars, and then the drone shot flew out. And he had like the microphones all mic'd up, and he was talking all over those.
This is way more than we asked for
Yeah.
from them, and they did that. And I like when I saw that, just the first 10 seconds of it, I watched it with Whitty. We sat
Stood
down,
out from everyone else.
watched it, and I was like, well, I don't really think we need to watch the other ones. But then once we got to the end of it, like you said, we had really good applicants, and it's kind of like just like, which one do we take a chance on here?
It was tough doing an interview over the phone with him because you don't get all the
You don't
same
get the personality. You know,
person.
yeah.
But he's a great self-learner, and he literally just jumped in and like he'd watched our videos, and he was doing everything we needed to him without even saying half
that's
of it.
It's
Awesome.
it's like he had done his research, like he
Oh, yeah.
had been
He
a
had.
fan for a while.
he
and
has been
paid-
a fan
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
long time.
but he had taken notes and be like, how do they do what they do? And he jumped in. It was a great asset immediately. It was awesome.
I
King
like
of the Streets, 2014, 15.
I was there for that because I remember I remember you saying, I just got these kids just volunteer to
running
help with GoPros.
He was like 15 or 16 years old, helping us
I
grab
remember that.
GoPros.
So that was his first event.
Him and 2 of his friends that he had met through some online gaming or something like that met up in Chicago, went to King of the Streets, and they were just grabbing GoPros for us. And they did an amazing job. And I never thought I'd see his face on it. Video application 10 years later. I'm
that's
like,
crazy.
Wild.
I know this guy from somewhere.
Wild.
Crazy, but he'll be here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm glad we hired him. I think that it's really cool. He's like, he is so driven and so knowledgeable, and he still has that like excitement for life,
Yeah.
which
What's-
is cool to see.
What's great is I know when we take him to races and he sees cars that he saw in our video, he'll get
Yeah.
excited. He's like, oh, that's that car. That's Todd Spears. That's Beater Bomber.
Yeah, he
He'll get
knows all the
he
cars
knows the
already.
cars, and he'll be excited to see them in person as we
Yeah.
are, which is going to be awesome.
One of the things I saw, we're in the start line. I was talking to him, right? I talk a little much, and some cars are coming up. He's already just locked in. He's just like, all right, I gotta go, and just like gets the shot. And I was like, hell yeah, this kid's died. He's like focused. I was like, he's a cool kid. Glad we
Yeah.
hired him.
So he mentioned another experience that we had in this 5 days of craziness. We were after Wednesday with the cops blocking us in and shut it. You guys got a few roll races in. We didn't. We left like 3 o'clock after
you
being
guys didn't
stuck
get
in a parking
anything,
lot
did
for
you?
an hour. Yeah.
Dang.
There were literally 15 undercover cop cars that came into the parking lot all at the same time at a 7-Eleven. We were just hanging out. We weren't doing anything. And there was 2 cars that didn't have license plates on them, and they impounded those cars. And we thought we were blocked in, but I think we could have just left. And they're like, all right, guys, get the hell out of here. We're like, how are we going to get out? But so the next day, we heard about this Yellow Belly race that had like it was a streetcar shootout. They had a bunch of streetcar rules for it, $250 buy-in, and someone said there was like 20 some cars. So I was like, because we do shifts now at TX2K. So Fred came in the afternoon shift. We were supposed to go sleep till like 8 or 9 and then go out on the streets till like 6 in the morning.
Mhm.
We sacrificed like 4 hours of sleep to get up early and go to Yellow Belly just to get some for sure content because we were worried about streets being okay. And we get there and there was only 6 cars in the shootout. I'm like, oh man, but it's Yellow Belly. And Thursday at Yellow Belly is crazy. It's like the most hood track experience you will ever see. It's literally like being on the streets. There's 400 or 500 people on the starting line. There's people lined 100 feet down the track.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think
No guardrail.
that's the most outlaw track we go to. That and then Brown County is the
Oh,
only
yep.
thing. The only reason I say Brown County is under it. Now, stay with me, folks at home, is because you're not allowed to stand on the track at the 60-foot at Brown County.
yeah,
They don't care where you are when you're at Yellow Belly.
No.
That is the most outlaw place I've ever been.
And then
I
the
love shooting
stands are raised above the track with these metal
Cages.
cages
Yeah, that's what I
with
called this.
Hispanic music playing throughout the entire place. Full blast. Matt couldn't hear us on the radio because he was sitting right next to this car with like 6 speakers on the back deck.
It was like a
Sounds like a
concert in a
vibe,
car.
dude.
It was a good time.
I love
like,
that, how the parking lot's like backed up right to the walls. You have the track, the wall, and then parking lots lining on their side that are covered, and everyone's cooking out and listening to music and just partying, and it's such a
Garden
vibe.
parties
It's a
everywhere.
vibe.
Yeah, garden parties everywhere. Like, dude, Yellow Belly is seriously one of the coolest places. And if you haven't been there and you're a fan of drag racing, you gotta go.
It's a bucket list thing. It's the oldest outlaw track in the nation, actually.
Really?
Just watch your valuables.
Yeah.
We've never had an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Respect
1320
us.
video. So.
But when people leave, or just randomly when they're sitting there, they'll do burnouts, just smoke out the whole place.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was at the starting line, there was a burnout right next to you,
Mhm.
and it's hilarious. You could hear it, and there's this billowing white smoke coming out this metal grate onto the
Oh,
track.
The
It was
pavilion
hilarious.
itself was its own party. That's
Yeah.
Hang on, can we talk about real quick how apparently 1320 video is a gang affiliated
Yeah.
thing now?
really
The cops, okay, so I wasn't there with you guys, but the cops were apparently pulling over every modified car going
It was really
into
disappointing.
the track.
Really
Let me say that again. They were pulling over every modified car going into the track. So why are tracks there? So we take it to the track and not on the streets, right? These people were literally taking it to the track at the gate before they made it into the track. Were getting pulled over and ticketed.
There's probably 10 Grand Prairie police officers.
Yeah, I don't care who
stationed.
you are, Grand Prairie Police. I hope you see this. That was fucked. Don't ever are you serious? They're trying to go to the track. They're trying to do what you want, and you're ticketing them for it. That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And then on top of it, apparently so many of these great people that want to take their race cars to the track had our sticker on their car that apparently the cops thought that's a gang. Obviously, that many people have the sticker on it. That's a gang. They're gang affiliated. So we now have more street cred than we did before, gentlemen.
Yeah.
In Grand
Do we
Prairie,
need to come
we
up with a
are
hand signal.
in Grand Prairie. We are now we are an organized gang, according to the police.
Finally made it.
High five.
that was the most awkward high five I've seen.
It's a wide table.
You can cut that out.
That's making it for
Leave
sure.
Yeah, but it was very disappointing to see that. The police definitely want to make their presence known, and I understand they're just trying to do their jobs, but the way they're harassing people, last year was really, really bad. It was about half as bad this year in general in the city. But they were just pulling people over for like tint, drag radials, parachutes covering license plates. I can kind of understand that, but they were just harassing the crap out of people. And we actually sat next to some police, I think Friday night in Ennis, and I just jokingly said, "You guys know where the street races are at?" And they're just laughing. And he said, we're starting to realize that the takeover crews, the burnout guys, are different than the street racers. I was like, thank you.
Yeah,
Oh my
I wish more
goodness.
people would understand that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for real.
We are not the same.
We don't need to go too deep into that, but we try and associate ourselves with people that respectfully street race. I know it's illegal. I know it's dangerous. It harms people around them, but we're not in the middle of the intersection running people over. We're not filming that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's I hope the police around the world can realize that it's two separate car cultures of people.
Yep.
And the takeovers are ruining car culture in general and making it hard for people to have car shows,
Like just-
harmless car shows.
Just to say this, street racers want to go do what they want to do on the street as safely as possible. We know it's dangerous. As safely as possible and not hurt anybody else. If it's possible, anybody else but themselves if something goes wrong. Takeover kids are just there for internet clout. They want the biggest crowd there to watch their car go around, and then they hit somebody, and then it's and the fact that when somebody gets hit at one of those things, all you see is a million people run up with their cell phones out filming this person on the ground that just got hit by a 5,000-pound car.
That's
Are
not
you
good.
serious?
Yeah,
They said
Like-
someone had their head ran over
Ah.
that night or the night before
they did.
at some burnout party, like a half hour from the track.
And they probably just kept doing burnouts. Like
Probably.
serious, they are two different entities. I wish more police would realize
Yeah.
that.
Okay, back to Yellow Belly. This is when I saw Reese get really excited. Like he was just fully engaged with this and just having such a great time. Every time I looked at him, he was just like amped up. I was like, I need to get this shot. Reese is there. I need to get this shot. Reese is there. Like he was just. We didn't even ask him to go talk to people. He was just walking up, talking to people in their cars, just killing it.
Killer hire?
Yeah.
I think we got so lucky.
Amazing.
it's a
Very
good one.
lucky. But there was not only the 8-car shootout, it was like they put $2,500 on top. It was like $4,000 to win. There's some pretty legit cars in that. It was a bunch of them were from the same crew. And we'll have this video out in a couple weeks. We'll also have the roll racing video will be out probably 3 or 4 weeks. It'll be the launch of our next giveaway. Hint, hint.
Ooh.
So we're gonna hold that
spicy.
video out just a little bit for you guys. So
It's a Bugatti.
just bear with us. It'll be worth the wait.
It's not a Bugatti.
I'm guessing this video will be about an hour and a half long.
It'll be a long one.
Maybe longer. It was insane. But Yellow Belly is just such a cultural experience, and the track staff's amazing there. The racers are amazing. The spectators were just living it up. There was 1320 merch everywhere. It felt so good.
Yeah.
Was the taco lady there with the
Yes.
taco
Yes.
truck?
Yes.
Oh, I love her.
If
Her
anyone
food
has
is
an
so yummy.
opportunity to go to Yellow Belly,
Do it.
especially on a Thursday, like you're in Dallas for whatever reason, please go. It's such a vibe. It's such an experience. And that track, I don't know if it's struggling right now, but like, just go.
They said they needed some help getting people in the stands.
Every track is struggling right now.
Yep.
So go spectate, because that's the most outlaw place we've ever been in our lives.
We'll be there in a few weeks.
Yeah,
at,
April 10th, 11th, 12th.
Small Tire Gangsters.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
excited.
That'll be exciting.
What
What was your favorite car? One car you got into this weekend?
Ooh. Huh.
I can go first if you guys want to think.
Go
about
for
Go.
it.
So, like I said, I had some struggles on the street, but I did get in a couple really badass cars, and my favorite one was a silver C6 Z06. The guy I got in with, he seemed really. When you were like, you guys are going to bed,
Yeah.
and you're like, I just got this ride lined up.
That
You
was
were riding with
perfect because
him.
we were looking for a way out so we go to bed.
There you go.
I was like, this is so good. We got to get some more, but it's 3:30 and we got to be at the track at 8:30 and
Yeah.
we got an hour drive.
yeah,
Thank you for showing up at that moment.
yeah. That was.
Yeah,
Thank
dude.
you for giving
That was
me the
my
ride.
ride. Yeah.
That was the best ride I had all week. So that worked out great. We raced everybody, but he seemed like he seems kind of timid or whatever. And what's scared. He drove the crap out of that car. Like just getting on the on ramp, just cruising. He was downshifting, rev matching, and I didn't feel any of it. I just heard it. It's going, and I was like, "What the hell is he?" And great driver.
Automatic manual.
Yeah, he's had that car forever, and he knows it like the back of his hand. But my favorite race in that car, we were in the left lane, and I was counting off with a car that was right next to us, and we go, and as soon as we go, it was a flashback from that GTR Chris Hill had at TX2K 15, 16, 17,
that
one of
was
those,
sick.
So long ago.
where you see the shot where the race is going on, and you see Chris Hill come around like that. We were doing a race, and as soon as we gun it, it's like we're in the race for a couple seconds. A 5th gen Viper comes out of nowhere and locks in with us, and then we accelerate through it. It was the cool. I was like, "This is so cool!" And that was
sick.
that. If the video, if we show the video when the video comes up, you'll see the viewfinder starts flapping. I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" Then all of a sudden, I see in the flap like this Viper come. Wow! I was like, that was the. I was like, that was the coolest race I've had all week. That was so cool. And we raced everything that pulled up next to us: Mustangs, other Corvettes, and stuff, whatever. That was the best car I got in, and that was the most memorable race because I was like this. It immediately sent me back to Chris Hill. Just like the car came around, I was like, "Oh shit, that Viper!" And I hadn't seen the Viper all night, so it was like a brand new car I hadn't seen all night. And all of a sudden, he comes up, and that thing was badass too. That was
Hell yeah.
That Viper was twin turbo, and he built
The
it.
black?
Yeah,
He built it
dark
himself?
blue, dark blue.
Oh, okay, different one.
And it was
He built it himself.
he built it himself.
Wait, it was a close race with the Heads Cam Z06?
No, that had a YSI on it.
Oh, it was supercharged.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That
Had a
makes more sense.
Yeah. But yeah, he built the Viper himself. It was really dirty the first night, so you might have thought it was black.
That was the car.
Yeah, it was dark blue. It
We
was
had some really good races with him.
Yeah, but that was my favorite car and favorite race.
Awesome.
What'd you guys
Corvette,
have?
bro.
Yeah.
Shout out to Corvette, bro.
Hell yeah.
That was one of those desperate moments when no one had a passenger seat. Everyone brought their friends, and I was like, they were having a driver's meeting. I was like, who has an open passenger seat? And this guy speaks up, and he was like kind of timid. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to talk to this guy before I hop in. I'm not sure.
Dude,
I'm glad it worked out well.
Frickin' legend, dude.
Awesome.
Drove the crap out of that thing.
What about you,
Hell yeah.
That was
Matt?
Matt's favorite.
Oh, this is really hard, actually. I've been like kind of thinking about this the whole time. I would say honorable mention is an F80 BMW. It was gold. I just love that gold color. Like
After
I
the
know
first
you
two
like
nights, we made a rule no more BMWs.
Raise your hand if you got in a BMW.
I got into BMW.
I got into two.
I got into two as well.
Everyone but Witty. That's ironic.
Raise your hand if you posted to social media all week.
Biggest BMW fanboy.
Yeah.
there
Dude,
is.
you would have loved it this year.
Oh, I bet.
there
I
was so
heard all
many.
about it.
Them.
There was a convertible M2?
That thing was so
Or no, it was a
bad.
240.
Did you ride
That
in
was a
that?
240i.
No, I
No,
don't think
he didn't
anybody
have a
did.
passenger seat. I was
No.
like,
Oh, that's right.
I talked to him for like 5 minutes. I was like, so you got a pass? You got anybody in your passenger? He's like, I don't even have a passenger seat, my guy. And I look in there, I was like, oh, I was standing right next to it for like
Yeah.
5 minutes. Didn't realize there was no seat.
He did the same thing to me, and he's like, "You can hop in." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no."
If he would have had a back seat, since it's a convertible, I would have done that. But he didn't have a back seat either.
Okay.
Okay, so F80 BMW. We actually raced the Viper that came up in your video.
Nice.
Neither of them made traction the second hit, so it was probably one of the most interesting races ever. It's just like back and forth, the battle for
Battling it,
traction.
yeah.
They were pedaling it right next to each other. But I will say, oddly enough, I rode in BMWs. I rode in twin turbo V10 cars, multiple twin turbo V10 cars, and the car I got excited for the most was a Mustang.
Oh.
The big wing one?
Yes, the one
okay.
that Reese was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And
Bad
so I had a buddy who came up to me at the track with I'd rode with him in a Supra years ago, and he's like, "Do you remember me? I'm going out tonight. I have a different car." Well, he had a 1,500 horsepower Huracan, and so I was like, "I'll find some racing for you if you come out." So I've been riding with him like most of the night. We probably got like a whole bunch of races in, and like those cars are so fast, they're so dialed. Like not a lot can beat those on the street. And so we came back to the parking lot after having a good run, and the guy with the Plaid actually walks over to me and he's like, "Does he want to run a Mustang?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"A Mustang." And he's like, "Yeah, a Mustang." I'm like, "Do you want to run a Mustang?" And he goes, "Is it going to be a blowout if we do? Because I'm down." I'm like, "I don't think anybody with a Mustang is going to be calling you out if they think there's a chance that you're just going to destroy them." He's like, "All right, well, we'll do it." And so he sends the Mustang up, and like when it rolls up, I'm like, that's kind of ricey. It's on like a big tire. It's got like a humongous wing on it.
The wing
like,
was taller than the roof, I believe.
yeah.
From
It
the
was-
picture I saw.
It was a purpose-built wing, and I'll get into that. But so he shows up, and like camera goes up. I'm like, "So this is it?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is it." And I'm like, "How much power does this make?" He looks me dead in the eye and goes, "About 950." Like straight face. And I'm like, "Huh?" And he starts laughing. I'm like, "All right, this is going to be good." He doesn't want to disclose the power. Usually means that these cars are heartbreakers. So we go out, and like he explained to me that I would have to like count it out really quick, because when he gets it up on the anti-lag, it just constantly builds boost. So he needs to be able to let go of the button quick so it doesn't just spin the tires. So he rolls up, and I didn't know what to expect because it's a Mustang versus a twin turbo car. But all this hype, like we're rolling, we're huge wing, big tire on this Mustang. I'm like, he could get us. And 1, 2, 3, anti-lag goes off. We launch, we get traction, all-wheel drive car. He spins a little, lags behind, sticks, and then pulls past us and keeps going. Like got like a car and a half out on us before he let out.
So to catch you and then go past, that had been like a 2,000 horsepower Mustang.
It was probably pretty close.
What was the car you were riding in? Was that the R8 1600?
It was
15.
the blue 14 to
Huracan.
1,500 horsepower Huracan.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Damn.
Sheepy built car. It worked really well. Like car did everything flawlessly.
That Mustang has to be pushing fucking steam.
Mhm.
It
Dear Lord.
was a bad car. So like after he beat us in the Huracan, I was like, I have to get in this car. I have to see what this is all about. And he pops the hood on it, and it's stock intake, like looks completely
Plastic intake
plastic
from
intake.
Ford.
I think I saw the underhood shot, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "There's no way that thing makes any power."
Factory cloth seats, full interior car.
The guy in that Plaid that set up the race has a Mustang that looks a lot like that. Factory looking engine bay, boost pipe coming down from 2 massive turbos.
It was that race, just like I still get chills like thinking about like just how he like walked out of our life. I never suspected a Mustang to beat that car.
Those Coyote cars were getting so figured out and so dialed.
Dude,
And that's the scariest part is they can look ricey or stock, and then they'll go out there and do something crazy.
Dude, that 10-speed transmission, like for the past 2 years riding in those cars, I'm like, this just feels like such a solid car. Like it shifts flawlessly, and like they're insane.
There's
Like,
so many gears that when it shifts, it's automatically going to be in its power band for the next gear. It's not
Mhm.
like a lag to get back into it. There's so
Yeah.
many gears that it's just like it put you in power every time.
Yeah, the 10 speeds and the DCT transmissions are
So good.
mind blowing.
So good.
That Mustang was very hard to start a roll race with because it sounded like the end of the earth when he was on his anti-lag.
Oh, yeah.
The exhaust is right next to the driver front wheel.
Oh, okay.
So it's like right in the passenger window.
Did it come through the fender or was it under the car?
I don't know.
Under
it
the
was just
car.
right there because I was in an R8 trying to flag a race, and I was like, you couldn't hear anything, and I couldn't hear my own voice.
Dear
it was
Lord.
so
Dang.
loud.
I actually have it on video. Like when we tried to run it back, because the guy in the Huracan, he was there to have fun. He's like, I want to run it back. Tell him one more. I'm like, okay. We roll up. He gets on the two-step. My guy just hits it. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
It's
Like
hard
everybody
to
gets a
start
little.
because they
It
get
is.
antsy when you hear that. You think they're going.
We lined it up again, and he hits it. I'm like, you got to wait for me to say 3, my guy. Like I get it. It's a loud car. It's scary, but like we got to do this fair.
Yeah.
But that was my favorite car.
Cool.
The Mustang, for sure.
Sounds cool.
What'd you get, Kyle?
Man, my Saturday night was like one of my favorite roll race nights I've ever had. And I stuck with one of my friends that I typically see on the end of the Texas streets the last few years. He had a C7 Corvette. This year he had a 1,600 horsepower V10 all-wheel drive R8. And we got so many good races. There was the red Huracan that was there, who actually previously owned the R8 I was riding in. They raced each other, and the R8 edged him out by a fender.
Which generation was the R8? Was that your old one or the newest facelift one or no?
Gen 2. So like
I want to say the
pre-facelift.
DME car was the facelifted one, and the one you got in wasn't facelifted.
Yeah,
I think
his was Kyle's previous body style is what he hopped into.
Yeah, it was older.
Still a great looking car though.
Absolutely. I just think the new ones look so
The-
damn.
that
The
facelift
facelift looks
really
so
helped.
good.
The one that you rode in, yeah, it was the first gen
the
of the 17.
other red one.
Yeah, it was like the deepest, darkest red
Oh.
I've ever seen. I hate red cars, but that was a really, really cool red.
Talk about the DME car. That
Yes.
car.
The one that was-
that red was like drippy. It
looks
was
so good.
It didn't.
Look at these 3 red cars.
Ooh, I
That-
like the far left.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
that's
that's the one
the
we're talking
one.
about.
The-
That one looks damn near orange.
This is what I was riding in.
Yeah, that looks like not
This is
not
like-
red like your old Corvette.
Mm.
But the paint on this newest facelift one looked drippy.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it
like
was
that.
so clean.
He painted this stuff. It's usually black.
Oh,
Yeah.
and he had the best wheels. He had those.
Those are the
BBSs.
wheels.
Those are the BBSs.
Those are the wheels I want.
Fuck,
Oh, I think I
best
saw
wheels.
I
him.
knew
the
Fred
picture.
was going to make a
Best
I
comment
saw
about
those
the
on a
wheels.
Porsche in 21 when I had my R8 at TX2K. And I called BABS to order them, and they didn't make them in the
In that
right
spec,
offset. And
yeah.
now they do.
Yeah, such a good wheel.
So sexy. But
Hang on, wait, hang on. So you're saying they do now, right?
yeah, they do.
You own an R8.
I
still.
know.
Ooh.
I
Alright.
think you should be calling BBS.
Pull the
for some
trigger,
wheels.
Kyle.
I'll get other things to spend money on.
BBS, if you're watching
So that
this.
was probably my favorite car to ride in, just because that whole I hung out with him pretty much the whole time. We've got a good system of how to start races, because he's racing with people that are like right there with him. So I rode with him 3/4 of the night. But I also hopped in a Huracan that was the guy that used to own the R8, and he turned it up against a GTR, and this GTR was probably the fastest car on the streets that raced.
Was that the
Really?
white one?
The white one?
Yeah, that thing was bad.
It's from East Coast.
Mhm.
There was a blue Huracan on the street that was rumored to have, what was it, 2,500,
Is that the-
3,000, I don't know.
Was that the Performante?
The glossy blue.
Oh yeah.
Was it the blue underground
the
car?
one with the
Yes.
parachute?
But he said he couldn't get traction that night.
I raced that car in that 370Z.
How'd that go?
How do you think it went?
Was it a blowout? I'd be
You got
worried
to
if
see
it
a
wasn't
race?
a blowout.
Yeah,
He
I
did
was
race.
in the car. Yeah.
Oh, and the Lambo?
No, we
370Z.
were racing the Lambo.
Ah.
If I can explain this race real
Yeah.
quick, that's fine.
Sorry to tease you guys so much. The video's going to be out shortly, so
Yeah.
stay tuned.
I get into this 370Z because it was like this most unique thing, and I haven't been in a 370Z that makes power. It made like 1,100 horsepower. We go up.
Pink one?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We go up to the group of all the V10 and like the Revolto guy was there and everything, and we tried to call out the Revolto, and the rich guy just looked over, and was like, "What do you have?" It was like, "We got this," and it was like, and then I kept trying to like, "What, are you scared? Like, it's just a 370Z," and they weren't taking anything. And then the blue Performante, I had ridden with his brother like 10 years ago, so I know who that guy is. And I was like, "Do you want to run or do you want to run the Z?" And he's like, "How much power does it make?" And we told him. He's like, "I could warm up my tires, sure." That's what he said. He said, "I could warm up my tires." we're getting on the interstate behind him. He guns it to warm up his tires real quick before he actually warms up the tires against us. And as soon as he does it, the driver's like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Dude, it's an underground car."
What
like,
do you expect?
and then my driver gets on it, and we go like the back end gets all squirrely, and he's like, "I got you, Fred. We're good, buddy. Don't worry about it." I was like, "I'm good," you know.
This is
and
the
then,
guy that had his car impounded the first night.
yeah. And then we're lined up to race, and I was like, I don't even think the other guy was worried about us at all because I don't even know if he got on anti-lag or anything. But I was like, 1, 2, 3. On the first race, we move a half lane to the left, and the Lambo moved a full lane to the right. And then we both get it collected and go, and he was already ahead of us. So that was the closest race, was when we both switched lanes. And then every other race after that was just like gone, bye. Great hearing that car.
I'm just happy to hear that you got something on video of him racing because he was following us around all night and just it was too cold the last night.
I think he knew it was just a puppy kick.
Yeah.
So he did. And then afterwards, we were like, I was like, that was cool. We got to run that car. Like it wasn't a shot in hell that we were going to win, but it's cool. And then we go up and I give him a thumbs up. I will never forget this face. Give him a thumbs up, and he looks over like, really? Like, You really think this was a thumbs up type of race? I just thought he'd be like, yeah, cool, good runs, whatever. But I was like, thumbs up. He's like, really?
Okay, so the GTR might not have been the fastest car, but they didn't race each other.
Okay. We were under the impression also we were doing 1100 versus 1600, not 1100 versus 25.
No, there were rumors of 3,000 horsepower. We don't actually know how much power it had.
I wouldn't be surprised. That guy's had that car for a while, and I know he's not okay with whatever he has. He has to get quicker and quicker.
Yeah. The 720 that I rode in 2 nights prior, I forget. We had a really close race I mentioned with the
Revolto,
yeah. And then I called Caleb because he ran out of race gas, so he filled up on E85 at the pump. So I called Caleb, who was in my truck, to meet us, and they were just gonna head home. And he's like, "Well, we can just go to the meet." And I was like, "Oh, sure, okay." Caleb, hop in the 720. I thought he was just gonna cruise there, maybe do a hit or two just to show Caleb what the car was like. He raced that convertible BMW like 8 times on the way. It was
sick.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He was probably 2 or 3 cars behind him. Like that BMW was fast.
That's cool.
Yeah, that thing moved out.
And then I don't mean to spoil everything, but you'll just have to see the race with the white GTR. Man, he got everybody going. That thing was fast. It needed 2.5 lanes to go, but I was in the 1,800 horsepower Red Performante that beat. Well, he got some race gas, so he was able to turn it up a little bit, and there was no competition. It was crazy. I'm glad he got off it because he had no traction. It was just like
We raced him in the Huracan too, and he just like traction, like waited for traction after we pulled ahead, and then just like came past us, got like a half car out and let out every time because there's no point. In, like,
he was rumored to have a few
continuing
hundred more horsepower than everybody else in the parking lot, and he was spraying it, which he really needed to do.
And everybody got to ride in BMWs except me because the video guys and the photo people have different schedules. So they'll do different shifts and everything. And then I had our buddy Mo Ackermaui. He came in and helped us do photos. We get to the track when it opens, and then we leave when we're done. And we go and edit stuff from all day long. And we'll schedule out, write up stories, schedule features, schedule highlights. That way stuff's going up every other hour, or some of the days every hour, every single hour, all day long. That way, while we're at the track, we don't have to worry about posting things and figuring things out because we can just, it's all going up automatically.
Woody was texting me like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when we were out on the streets. I'm like, go to bed.
Yeah. But I mean, it's sad that I know that, riding in cars is hella fun, and I got to do that in the past, but I did have to make the decision. I was like, man, if I'm going to get all this social media up and the photos correctly posted, it's fine. I like getting all the photos out and making sure social media looks good, but it is sad when everyone's like, I got to ride in the sickest BMW, and I'm just like.
This year was the year of the BMW.
It was.
It was
It
the year.
was. They were everywhere.
It was the year of the X58 on the street, I'd say. Like
Yeah,
all the
those-
B58, S58s.
Yeah.
All those on the street, because there was a bunch of Supras, M4s, M3s, a couple SUVs. I
That
didn't see
modern
any
day
run,
2JZ,
but
baby.
something
Yeah.
like that.
At the end of the night, there was a full-size pickup truck, crazy twin turbo. I'm guessing 1,800 horsepower.
God, dude.
Ooh.
We got a good race with that.
Yeah, he
But-
raced the Mustang.
So that's just a flavor, just a
Yeah,
taste
and
of what
I'm
we
not
saw.
lying. That was at least top 3 favorite roll race nights of my career, and I've been filming roll racing for 16, 17 years.
That says a lot.
And Reese
yeah.
was there for that. Like, I
That's
don't know if
crazy.
he's ever going to be able to top that night.
No. That's why I said he's
Personally.
broken. He's broken.
Oh my gosh.
We're all broken, like mentally, when it comes
Yeah.
to getting in a fast car. If the
Jaded.
thing doesn't make 2,000, it's not going to move our heart rate very much. And
Yeah.
that's not me being
Stick
a dick.
shift cars,
That's different.
1,200 plus.
But
We're
like,
good.
like that's not me being a dick. That's me just saying we've ridden in so many cars. We are conditioned to feel what that's like and film the car next to us at the same time. It's
Yeah.
just, and now Reese is broken. So sorry, Reese.
Yeah.
You'll never feel fast again.
But keep an eye out on our YouTube channel for that video. It's going to be
Right.
epic.
And then what we got coming up? Events?
Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Frankenstein for becoming our third presenting sponsor.
Hey!
We lost one of our. We had an opening this month, and they jumped on it right away. Pro Charger has been with us forever as well, and Texas Speed, great sponsors. Streetcar World and Frankenstein was a perfect fit. They're
Hell yeah.
big in the streetcar world. Intakes, porting, they just beautiful billet intakes.
Build the fanciest
They
looking
make-
stuff.
They build the
Billet
Pro Line
heads.
intakes. Did you know that?
What's up?
They build the Pro Line intakes.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
There's a little diamond on the Pro Line intakes.
I didn't know that.
Did not
Oh,
know that.
yes.
Cool. But definitely check them out. They don't just do LS stuff. They do everything. Big blocks, Ford engines.
Coyote
streetcar
stuff.
stuff.
I think
Yep.
they do everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
big
yeah.
thank you to them. They're going to be with us for a long time, I have a feeling.
Hell
Nice.
yeah. Nice.
But we are going to some events coming up. Some we can't talk about, but some we can. Next up is probably shortly after this video comes out is Streetcar Takeover Atlanta, which is happening on accident because we're going to do some garages out there.
right.
And
Are we going to the reunion before that?
Yeah, but this video is probably going to drop after that.
Oh, okay.
Most likely. But we'll be at Cletus's race.
Yep.
Rear wheel drive, all wheel drive,
Uh-huh.
the reunion, Streetcar Takeover Atlanta, and then Small Tire Gangsters
Yes,
back
sir.
at Yellow Belly.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I did
Same.
not get to go with the Yellow Belly with you
Same.
guys. And when you were like, we're going, I was like, from the flyer, you're like, does this look good? It just said daily driver shootout. I was like, it doesn't look good. I said that in the group. And
Yeah.
then you guys went, and I'm glad it was a great time.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go back. That was one
Yeah.
of my favorite tracks I went to last year.
It was just it's a vibe.
Yeah.
It's a
It
it's a
is.
vibe.
It really is.
It's a vibe.
You can't find it anywhere else.
Nope.
It's just so exciting the whole time you're there. It doesn't matter who's racing. It's just exciting. There's money bets everywhere, garden parties everywhere.
Dice
it's
getting
like
thrown.
literally 500 people on the starting
Good
line.
food.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
It's
love it.
nuts.
Oh, the tacos there are undefeated.
Yeah.
Undefeated.
now.
And then Streetcar Bragging Rights will be our first time going. That's in like a month and a half.
Oh, I'm so excited. It looks like such a high production level at that event.
Yep.
They shot like fireworks off last time. I heard media got catered meals. Like,
Oh,
ooh,
yeah.
we're
Nate-
getting
Nate
I
Ryder's
he
looking
keeps saying the catered meals. He keeps saying that.
I think
Hey,
that's what
we're
he's most
media.
excited
That's
about.
what he.
I'm most excited
If,
for the
if you're
stick shift
grilling
class.
food, just watch out for Whitty. He's going to come snipe
Yeah.
it from
Hey,
you.
if somebody has food that they want to give away and you give it to me, that's how you're getting photos of your car. There's like 300 cars
Pro
at a
tip.
race. I can't get them
He
all.
can be bought.
Yeah,
give
he
me-
can be bought.
I
with
do have a
food.
price, and the price is food. Cap?
Okay.
But we've been hearing about Streetcar Bragging Rights. We've been wanting to go for a while, but there's
Yeah.
always events that overlap it. But Nate reached out to us and offered us the sponsorship for the roll race event, and it sounds like it's going to be an epic roll race.
Roll
Yeah.
race and the stick shift class. I'm
Yeah.
so excited
Stick
for.
shift's going to be nuts.
And
gonna
Kyle,
do-
what are they doing differently with this roll race? Didn't you tell me
He
it was something
has-
special?
This new technology, they're going to put a mile-an-hour trap on the starting line. So it's not going to solve the issues
No.
with starting at
It'll
roll race.
prevent
help a
some
little bit,
bad
But
things.
you don't have to have a TX2K. I don't know if they still do it. They use radar guns
Mhm.
to show how fast they're going. And this will actually be a mile-an-hour trap speed on the starting line.
So they can see out. Or
There's nothing to gauge the distance. It's just the mile an hour. So
Okay.
visually, they're going to have to look for the distances.
okay.
Someone mentioned, actually, George Dodworth came up with this idea that I heard, I think through Peter maybe. It was a rabbit, like how they use in the horse races.
Oh.
And if
You gotta pace the rabbit?
goes and you have to be behind the rabbit, I think that would be a really good way of doing it, but it'd be very expensive to set up.
Just get
Um,
one of those horse tracks to set one up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kentucky Derby of Texas.
We can do dirt track roll racing, right?
I mean, we've never done it before, Kyle. Nobody says
You
we
could roll
can't.
race
I
sprint
mean,
cars or stock cars.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, there you go.
But roll racing will never be clean, and that's part of the fun, I think.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Little known fact: do you
Oh.
know where roll racing at the drag strip originated?
Streetcar takeover.
Is it?
No.
Where at?
No way.
Ooh, you're really pushing me here.
Atlanta.
Nope.
No, it was not Atlanta.
This
Are
is
you
one of the
sure?
first streetcar takeovers.
Was it
Holy
KC?
cow.
Nope. Kinda. Topeka.
Heartland.
Heartland Park.
Oh, all right.
my
So-
What year?
gosh.
I can't remember the guy's name. We see him at a bunch of different races, like 16, 15, 14, I don't know. It was a black GTR and I don't remember what the other car was. Talked to Deegan, and he's like, "Do you think we could roll race on the drag strip?" And so Deegan talked to Chase, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, let's give it a shot." And that was the first roll race of the track.
No
Really?
way. That's crazy.
And then they implemented it in their racing a few months later. I think Oklahoma City, maybe.
Wait, are you sure?
Was it?
Because in 14, I'm not saying it was at a drag strip, but in 14, that's when TX2K started rolls. And that was at that circle track. And then 15, they moved it from the circle track to
I'm talking about at the drag strip.
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In 15 or in
I guess TX2K may have been doing
That's
it.
what I'm saying. In 15, where did they do rolls? Because if they didn't do them at the drag strip, because they only did the rolls at that circle track the one time, I think,
Yeah.
in 14. And then they moved. Did they do rolls the next year?
I don't know the years, how it lined up.
Okay. But,
But
right in that
roll racing
zone.
at the drag strip.
Okay.
I mean,
could've been
people have been roll
TX.
racing on the streets for.
yeah,
10
yeah,
plus
for
years.
sure.
But that was, I was like, oh, I guess we could roll race at the drag strip.
Yeah, nobody's ever thought of that.
And now it's a worldwide sport. Australia's got a big roll race.
Now that we know that, like, there are certain tracks you can't do that where there's like no room to build up speed, but at most tracks we go to, like the bigger tracks, there's plenty of room for
Oh, yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Other than that, I think that's all we got.
That's all we got.
All right.
We will see you guys at Small Tire Gangsters and all those races.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Thank you guys for watching Talkin' Shift.
Peace
See you
out.
next time.
Later.
Hit that
care.
subscribe button.
Hit it.